What we do here is go back.
Throughout boxing history, many fighters have come and gone, some reaching the highest heights, some falling flat. In this series, we take a look at some of boxing's biggest hype jobs who found out the hard way: you don't play this sport. And in this episode, we're doing a special from boxing's premier division. All fighters on today's episode will be heavyweight prospects who ultimately fell by the wayside. Welcome to Boxing Hype Jobs, Episode 2. In 2017, James "The Beast" Wilson appeared on the boxing scene and immediately had fans talking. This 6-foot heavyweight, who fought in an explosive way and threw power shots from the opening bell, had fans proclaiming him as the next coming of Mike Tyson due to his small size and fiery and explosive style. The comparisons end there. While not having officially been beaten at the time of recording, his record is 7-0 with one draw, with the draw being in his last fight in 2019 against an opponent who had a brilliant record of 13 wins and 20 losses. Wilson is an example of looking the part but not having an ounce of skill to back it up. It's unclear as to whether he'll box again, but if he does, don't expect the Mike Tyson type heavyweight to come along. Think more along the lines of the heavyweight Usman Ahmed. When your amateur boxing career features achievements like wins over Lennox Lewis, wins over Riddick Bowe, Olympic gold medalists, you expect this fighter to turn pro and achieve great things. Well, for Tyrell Biggs, it was a combination of several factors why he ultimately fell flat.
Cautioning the Canadian. Float like a butterfly and sting like a bee, as Coach told him. He has neither floated nor stung. Ali could do that. Look at that left. That charge blew it back. And Biggs ends this fight with a flurry and a flare.
Turning pro in 1984, Briggs was already facing an uphill battle in his career, stemming from a $1,500 a week drug problem and a style that was far from fan-friendly. His pro debut against Mike Evans, the crowd booed. That's a pretty bad look in your first pro fight.
The crowd, well, they have seen so much hard punching in the first 4 fights that they're dissatisfied at this point.
Following on, Briggs showed that he can move well, for a few rounds anyway, but drug problems and injuries brought on by a car crash meant that he got to 15-0, scraping through some fights, like against David Bay and Ronaldo Snipes. It was at this point his promoter Saduva made the decision to cash him out against Mike Tyson, at the time the baddest man on the planet.
I was going to rip his heart out. I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. There's no one can stop me. Lennox is a conqueror. No, I'm Alexander. He's no Alexander. I'm the best ever. There's never been anybody as ruthless. I'm Sonny Liston. I'm Jack Dempsey. There's no one like me. I'm from Nairclaw. There's no one that can match me. My style is impetuous. My defense is impregnable. And I'm just ferocious. I want your heart. I want to eat his children.
Biggs started well, but once his legs slowed down, he took a terrible and sustained beating from Tyson over the next 7 rounds. From then on in, it was over for Tyrell Biggs as a top contender. He went on to lose his next 2 fights, and from then on was little bit more than a stepping stone for future prospects. In 2014, Taishan Dong made his presence known in the heavyweight division. 7 foot tall and 290 pounds, the boxing world had a hard time trying to make out how good he could be, because he was unknown, even to the hardcore fan bases. He had a basketball and kickboxing background, but nothing to indicate that he was the next dominant heavyweight, but the boxing media gave him plenty of attention nonetheless.
See from this perspective. Boom, yeah. right on the ear, maybe a little bit above the ear.
Respected coach and former fighter Buddy McGirt sang his praises and claimed that his power was real. Well, maybe the power to make children cry, but punching power? Question mark.
His punching power was forget about it. I can't even explain it, man. When I do mitts with him, man, sometimes I felt like, you feel it in your joints, man. I mean, you feel it with any fighter, but with this guy, when he hits, you feel it in you. You feel like, it's like gonna get dislocated or something. When he throws the left hook, he can punch, man. I mean, he can punch, and when he learns to relax and let it come natural, he's gonna be a problem.
He was picked up by Golden Boy in 2014 and made his pro debut against Alex Roseman, a journeyman known for being an easy touch.
The decision as far as is he going to get in the chest of Tyshawn or he's going to be all the way out?
Despite scoring several knockdowns, Tyshawn showed the world that a dream fight between him and Deontay Wilder was just that, a dream. In 2015, it got worse, barely scraping through 4-rounders against low-level journeymen. He did get a highlight reel KO against, and I quote, couch potato Lance Gullish. Tyshawn retired at 6-0. He called it quits after some sparring with higher level heavyweights and decided boxing wasn't for him. And you know something? No one disagrees with that. If anything, this guy was destined to be brutally KO'd sooner rather than later. The BFS, the big friendly scouser, the precursor to Anthony Joshua.
You better know I'm coming for you, mate. You better know I'm coming for you.
Lad, you're going to be met with the jab.
What? You can't do nothing.
Can't do nothing. You mouthy cunt.
What are you going to do?
Mate, I'm made up. I'm made up. What? I'm made up you've gone like this because I thought you was half alright, but you're a flipping blade and you're going to get your head punched in.
In early 2009, a young David Price was unleashed on the British heavyweight scene. He had hype from the start, stemming from the fact he was the youngest ABA champion at just 19 years old. He had an extensive amateur career featuring a win over a certain man called Tyson Fury. Price on the come-up could do nothing wrong. Win after win, KO after KO, beating domestic rivals like Sam Sexton, Matt Skelton and Audley Harrison, all in devastating fashion. Tony Bellew called him the heir to the Klitschko throne, and in 2012 he was named ESPN Prospect of the Year, showing how many people took David Price very seriously. The question was, in 2013, when and where will we see David Price versus Tyson Fury?
To be honest, Harrison's the biggest bum inside boxing, and my reaction to David Price and Frank Maloney calling me out that midget, yeah? I'll fight David Price any day of the week. You see you plumber from Liverpool, it's personal between me and you, and I'm going to do you some serious harm, you big stiff idiot.
Okay, alright. Thanks Tyson. We're live on Channel 5. Right.
We never got to see this fight happen. With hindsight, it's easy to say what would have happened, but at the time, people believed it to be 50-50, with many saying it was 60-40 in David Price's favour. In fact, at the time, many people believed that the only people in boxing David Price couldn't beat was David Haye and Vladimir Klitschko, and many weren't even sure about David Haye. As it was, it didn't happen, because Price got exposed before it ever could.
If he was to beat me, then it could open the doors again for him, so he's got a lot to gain from the fight as well as myself, so it's two top 10 ranked heavyweights with two major governing bodies. It's a real fight, it's a proper fight.
David Price went into the Tony Thompson fight 15-0, full of confidence. Thompson, coming off a loss to Vladimir Klitschko, no one gave Tony Thompson a chance, but in the second round...
Yep, it's exciting times in this heavyweight to be...
Oh, goodness me! Well, there is the disaster scenario for this huge crowd, and Price is in real trouble. He's on jelly legs, and it's been stopped.
It was this KO that spelled the end for David Price. Another KO loss to Tony Thompson in the rematch, stamina issues exposed, meant that David Price became nothing more than a fighter other top fighters scored highlight reel KOs against. Well people, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and rest assured there will be plenty more to come. For now, let me know some other hype jobs you'd like me to cover. Share this video if you could, smash the like button and hit subscribe if you haven't already.